Salam Radio. Salam Radio. 106.2 FM.
Assalamu alaikum. This is your very own Dr. Shabina Asad Qayyum for Salam Radio 106.2 FM. It's wonderful to be back. I always know that I give a little bit of a gap. That's not the intention to do so. It's just because life and just being busy gets in the way a little bit. That's all it is. But it's absolutely wonderful to be back. I hope you've all been keeping well. Well, if I'm able to talk about a little bit about what I've been seeing over the last week, because I'll tell you who I am in a minute, I think that it's been mostly hand, foot and mouth disease. I've seen an awful lot of hand, foot and mouth disease, and I've seen an awful lot of colds, flu, bit of COVID. But on that note, I am going to say to each and every one of you, please do make sure that you have your COVID jab and have your flu jabs, because the annual flu jab and the COVID jab are being offered together via your GP surgery, and all of those who are eligible have to have your COVID jab, because flu in itself, as well as COVID, can be life-threatening for those people who are deemed vulnerable. So please, please remember to have your COVID jab. Now, I'm going to give myself an introduction. So my name is Dr. Shabina Asad Qayyum. I am a GP who lives in the city of Peterborough, and I also work within the city of Peterborough as well. And I'm always looking for topics to present on the show, sometimes with a guest, sometimes when I don't have a guest. The day I don't have a guest, you have to listen to me for 1 hour, which I don't think is a bad thing, because I love talking to people, and that's one of the reasons why I became a GP. It's because I absolutely love speaking to people. For many of you that don't know, and this is something I don't really share as often, I had a background in accident and emergency medicine. I then evolved into becoming for a little stint, actually, an ear, nose, throat surgeon. No, actually, let me take my words back. I trained initially to become an ear, nose, throat surgeon. Then when I got married, I evolved into becoming an accident and emergency doctor. And I worked in main hospitals in the United Kingdom, including at St Mary's Hospital. Also, I did some stints at the Isleworth Hospital, the West Middlesex in Isleworth, and I also worked at the Hinchinbrook Accident and Emergency Hospital, which is more locally in Huntingdon as well. And, you know, one of the jobs that I really valued was accident and emergency. The fact that you have people who can sometimes be so incredibly critically unwell, and to make decisions, snap decisions about very unwell people to try and either save their life or stabilise them. And trust me, I have treated people from all ages, from when they were little, young babies, all the way until they were adults. And I've lost count of the number of times that the teams that I were working with on the front line, on the cold face, have saved so many lives. Those people that have walked in with heart attacks, with strokes, women that have been giving birth and in distress, small children who have choked on foreign objects. You know, the list is just very, very long, but it's been a humbling experience, and it's formed part of my resilience as well. And that's why I've shared with you the very first time that I actually was, once upon a time, an accident and emergency doctor. And maybe that's where I get my activity and energy from. Who knows? But anyway, it's lovely to have you all, and I'd really like for you to participate in this very special show, because I'm going to introduce the topic of the show very shortly. And for that, you'd need to either call and speak to me on our telephone number, which is 01733 602 133, or you can text us on WhatsApp, which is 07411 191062. As well as that, look, we're on a live stream on Facebook. That's where the majority of you watch me. So comment on the live stream, ask me questions, be interactive. When I advertised this show earlier on during the day, I asked how many of you had how many hours of sleep. And that's when I'm going to introduce my topic to you. But do watch the live shows on YouTube and YouTube, Facebook, X, I was going to call it Twitter, X or Twitch, because I really want to hear your thoughts about what your experiences are. This really is a show that's for interaction. And I do have very many people who have already put questions forward to me. I'm going to read out some of their comments as well. But whilst I'm giving the first initial introduction of the show, I'd like you to write in the comments section on the Facebook Live video as to how many hours sleep you get and if that's enough for you or not. And what are your underlying issues for not being able to get an adequate sleep? Is it pain? Is it stress? Is it workload? Is it that there aren't enough hours in the day for you to complete your work or finish your work, whether that's doing a day job if you work and then coming home and having to do other things, tend to your families, look after yourself? Those are the things I want to hear, because this show is going to be about sleep, the number of hours you need to sleep, the science behind sleep, and what you need to do to get a good sleep, and the factors behind a deteriorating sleep as well. So let's talk a little bit about how crucial sleep is for our overall health. And we're going to do a bit of a deep dive into the science of sleep and why it's so important. Have you ever thought of that? And do you know, the reason why I decided to present this show was because I was waking up every morning, and I'm not a morning person. I'm honestly not. There are those, I envy those who wake up in the morning and say, yeah, I wake up easily about 5:30, 6. I go for a walk, I go for a run, or I go to the gym. And part of me really wants to do that because I think that it's a healthier way of having a lifestyle. Going to sleep early and waking up early. Early to bed, early to rise is the saying. So I think it's really important that lifestyle plays a crucial factor in how we sleep. And part of that is obviously a deteriorating sleep can be owed due to the fact that we have so much technology around us as well. But I will talk about that later. I want to hear from you. I want to be able to understand what keeps you awake at night if you don't have a good sleep. Share your thoughts with me. Now, I'm going to give you some UK sleep statistics, and I researched these earlier on. And it's local data here to the UK. And some quick stats of where we are in the UK with reference to sleep as well. Now, according to research by the Sleep Council, yes, there is a council called the Sleep Council, about 30% of people in the UK experience poor sleep quality, with almost half of that population feeling that they're not getting enough sleep. Now, 30% of the population feeling that they don't get enough sleep is quite significant if you think about the 70 million people who are living in the country right now. So that runs into millions, that figure does. So we've really got to ascertain why this is. And what's even more worrying is that around 40% of the 70 million population in the UK suffer from sleep problems. And women suffer more than men. So it's more likely that women will struggle with sleep issues compared to men. And these numbers actually do show us just how widespread sleep difficulties really are. And that's one thing I'd like you to really hold that thought, because women not being able to sleep more in terms of having struggles with their sleep more than men, for me, resonates very deeply. And there are a number of factors that could influence that. You know, in some very many cases, women are mothers. They now take on the role of earning and have jobs and careers. And lifestyle has become so much more busy as well. So there are those factors that lead to why women have deteriorating sleep compared to men. But why does it matter? Why does sleep actually matter? Sleep is not just a time for your body to rest. It actually plays a critical role in maintaining your physical health, your mental well-being, and it also contributes to your emotional stability as well. And we are going to explore why that's the case in today's show. I think that's really important. So it is pivotal. It's pivotal in stability in your mental health, in your physical health, and in your own well-being too. So how about you? Are you part of that 40% who's struggling to sleep? Call in or send a message to share how much sleep you are getting, and the number is 01733 602 133. Text me on WhatsApp, which is 07411 191062, and comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, X or Twitch. Come on, I'm waiting for you. It would be great. Earlier on, somebody told me that they had been thinking about their sleep patterns recently, and they told me that they had probably been sleeping on average about 6 hours a night. I also saw somebody saying whether 13 hours was enough, and I actually can't remember the last time somebody told me that they'd slept for 13 hours, which I think is a little bit too much. But I will tell you about what the normal amount of sleep should be according to your age bracket as well. So I think that that's important. However, before I talk to you about those statistics, it's really important to talk to you about the science of sleep. So let's talk about what happens when we sleep. It's understanding the sleep process and the sleep cycle, which will help us to appreciate its importance as well. So your sleep is divided into different cycles, each having its own purpose. So the three phases that you have are you've got light sleep, then you have deep sleep, and you have something which is known as REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement sleep. Now, what does light sleep actually do? This is when you first fall asleep and your body starts to relax. And you're in this state for about 50% of the night, actually. It's one of those phases where sometimes you will doze off as it is, and then you'll feel your body jerk and you'll wake up again. A lot of people get that. That is actually a light phase of sleep. And then you'll have deep sleep. And this is the most restorative, it's the most healing phase of sleep, where your body focuses on repair and growth. This phase of your sleep is essential for your physical health, for your emotional health, to repair your immune functions, and to make you feel rested. That's how important this type of sleep is. And then there's a type of sleep that many of us have heard about, and that's called rapid eye movement sleep. Now, it's the part of sleep that happens when you're dreaming. Yes, believe it or not, it does happen when you're dreaming. So it's that part of your memory, or it's that part of your sleep and of your body that helps with brain development, that helps with emotional processes, and helps with memory consolidation. And this type of sleep is the most complex, it's the most difficult to interpret, and it's also that part of sleep in which you dream too. So this is called your rapid eye movement sleep. And actually, this can be seen very much so within babies as well. Have you noticed when babies make faces and they have their eyes half closed, and sometimes they cry or make faces as if they're going to cry or laugh? That is actually their rapid eye movement sleep. So that is one element of what I would call REM sleep. So these are the three phases of sleep as well. Now, lots of people have asked me this question, that is, what is circadian rhythm? Now, your sleep-wake cycle is governed by something called your circadian rhythm, which is influenced by external cues, which is light and darkness. And in the UK, our long winter nights, we'll see that the clocks will go back around about the 27th of October, I believe. And those long winter nights and short nights, summer nights, can throw off this rhythm. It can cause a bit of disturbance. And how many of you, me included, in the summer when we have very long nights, will see that by 11 o'clock, when it's still fairly light outside, you don't feel like going to sleep. And by the time you're tired, you'll see that it's around 1 o'clock in the morning. And then you've got to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, say, to go to work or to get the children to school. And I must say, I feel the most tired at that time. Although in the summers, you have a little bit more of enthusiasm in waking up. So just to make you aware that your circadian rhythm is actually influenced by when it goes dark outside, because that then secretes the hormones necessary for you to wind down and gain a good night's sleep as well. So it's, for some people, however, that sort of external influence of light and dark can make it difficult for people to sleep well. Now, for you, those of you out there, and if you've just joined, this is Dr. Shabina Asad Qayyum for the Body, Health and Mind Show. Please do join in. Text us on 07411 191062. I want to hear your views, or call us on 01733 602 133. And you can comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, X or Twitch. It would be wonderful to hear from you. And have you noticed changes in your sleep during the winter months, or struggled with jet lag after travelling? I'd like to hear from you. Let me know. It would be great too. Now we know how sleep works, and I've spoken about the phases of sleep. Let's talk about why getting a good sleep is so important for your health, both physically and mentally. And after I lay those points out, I think it would be important to tell you how long you should have to sleep as well. So the physical health benefits. So getting enough sleep is essential for your body to recover and its repair process. Were any of you aware that sleep deprivation can increase your risk of heart disease as well? It's a very interesting statistic, actually. And according to the NHS, long-term sleep deficiency has been linked to an increased risk of heart attacks, strokes, and even high blood pressure. It is that important. And the statistic I'm going to give you is that around 1 in 4 adults in the UK are at risk of developing high blood pressure, and poor sleep is one of those contributing factors. So think about that. But if you have high blood pressure and you have a lack of sleep, you will be one of 4 people that will develop high blood pressure as a result of that as well. Then the benefits of sleep are obviously your emotional and mental well-being as well. And I speak about this quite a lot to patients who present to me with low mood and mood issues. It is crucial for mental and emotional well-being, and there has been research that has shown that people who don't get enough sleep are more likely to suffer from anxiety and depression, which is true. In fact, the Mental Health Foundation found out that people with insomnia meaning unable to sleep, are twice as likely to develop depression compared to those who sleep well. And there's also some research and science to substantiate that sleep can help with regulating your weight as well. Lack of sleep can also affect your weight. And when you're sleep deprived, your body produces more of the hunger hormone, which is known as ghrelin, and less of the hormone called leptin, which makes it harder to control your appetite. And considering one of the United Kingdom actually has one of the highest obesity rates in Europe, with 64% of adults being overweight or obese, sleep could be a key factor in helping with weight management as well. And there are linkages around cortisol secretion too. So being rested, getting a good sleep, also prevents the increase in the stress hormone level, which is called cortisol, which is invariably affected to weight gain, especially in females, and especially in those females around the perimenopausal age. So that's just one aspect that I'd like to bring to your attention too. Now, how many of you over here have had a lack of sleep and felt snappy? I'm going to put my hands up. This is exactly how I feel. it also affects your ability to stay focused when you have a lack of sleep. During the day, it's important that you feel refreshed when you're working, simply because of the fact that having a lack of sleep can make you feel very drawn out. And I've got some questions here which are great. What I'm going to do is have a look at them. Oh, it says that I don't have any questions as yet. It would be great to see if you are. So yes, I've got Kieran Ayub. Shabina, why do some people get dark circles if they sleep well? Okay, that's a really good question, Kieran, and I'm really happy that you've asked me that. The reason being that dark circles actually occur due to a number of factors. Yes, poor sleep could be one of them, but I'm going to speak to you from a cosmetic point of view now. And the reason why you can have dark circles as well is because you can develop, especially if you have pigmented skin, you can have dark circles from a hereditary point of view. You can have dark circles if you've got any certain nutritional deficiencies too. It's not just lack of sleep. So there are multiple factors. You can get dark circles if you've reacted to something that can leave your skin pigmented. So it's very important to understand the physiology around the skin and why you can get dark circles. It's not just due to sleep issues as well. So do think about that. And I would say that some people can't get rid of dark circles if it's hereditary. Okay, so that's one thing to think about. If you've got a mum or a dad who've got very dark circles, chances are it could be hereditary too. So that could be it. And I have got David Garner. If you have trouble sleeping, lay right on the edge of your bed. You will soon drop off. That's welcome back, David. Well, it's wonderful to have you back. David had been away for a very long time, so I'm really pleased that David is back and he has given us an insight into his jokes, which he would always write on my show, which has been wonderful. Thank you very much for that, David. That was a good joke, actually, wasn't it? You'll soon drop off. But we always need a bit of humour, especially when you're feeling tired, because we're talking about sleep naturally, aren't we? But come on, guys, this is something that I'm really, really passionate about. I think that it's something that we really do need to talk about a bit more. Why can't we normalise normal lifestyle issues? So I've done shows on diet and the importance of having a good diet. I've done shows, or I've presented shows on having adequate hydration and fluids within our system. I've done shows on the importance of exercise. Why can't we speak about good sleep? It's a normal phenomena. Everybody should have a right to good sleep. I think it's a human right. And in fact, you know, I've heard that in wars gone by, sleep deprivation has been used as a means to torture people too and keep prisoners awake, so that they would confess sometimes when they were being interrogated. So this goes back a long way. That's how important sleep is. Not having enough sleep can drive you absolutely crazy. So it is very important. And we've spoken a little bit about poor sleep can affect our mood and our ability to stay focused as well. So make sure. Now, in terms of statistics, there were some statistics that I had drawn up, and newborn babies, the normal sleep average for them that they need per day is around 14 to 17 hours. And then you look at children, and children need at least 9 to 11 hours of sleep. So those parents who put their children to sleep at around 7 o'clock after tea are doing the right thing, because they'll wake up the next day, especially if they're going to school, and they need at least 9 to 11 hours of sleep. Then you have your adolescents or your teenagers. And this is what I keep on asking the teenagers that come to me in my surgery, and ask them what their sleep is. And the adolescents need to around 8 to 10 hours of sleep. So 8 hours on average is fine, and make sure that you take your devices off them. Adults up to the age of 64, 7 to 9 hours. So I'd consider myself an adult. I'm not 64 years old, but hey ho. But I definitely need more than 7 hours of sleep. So 9 is good for me, I would say. And then adults over the age of 64 need 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So it's important. It's very important that you have the right amount of sleep. I mean, I've put the hours out there. And what we're going to do in the second half of the show is I'm going to speak a little bit about common sleep problems in the UK as well. What are they? Why do they affect our sleep? And what can you do about it? It's really important. I will also give you an overview on how to build better sleep habits. Come on, engage into the show. I can't wait to have you back. It's just going to be a little advert. Listen to our adverts. They're enjoyable. Support all of those businesses that we advertise here on Salam Radio. And I will return and speak to you after the break.
This is Salam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio. Broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
At Master's Pharmacy, we put your health and convenience first. We offer free blood pressure checks and blister-packed medication. With our free same-day prescription delivery service, you can have your medication when you need it. We also offer travel vaccinations, including Hajj and Umrah, along with other services to meet all your pharmacy needs. For more information, contact Master's Pharmacy on 01733 567 208 or visit us at 303 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PH.
Are you a savvy shopper searching for the best food deals? Look no further. Adams Cash and Carry can help you save big. We're not just a food wholesaler for takeaways and restaurants. We also welcome household customers at our warehouse in Westwood, Peterborough. Visit our website and enjoy wholesale prices on everything from drinks to flour, rice to burgers and much more. To shop, go online and collect in store. Visit adamscashandcarry.co.uk today to start your savings spree.
Bite into something wonderfully tasty at Big Mouth, 349 Lincoln Road in Peterborough. Eating in for takeaway or delivery. Big Mouth now have a delicious new menu full of all your favourites. Crispy fried chicken, juicy smashed burgers, finger-licking piri-piri chicken, handmade pizzas, quality doner meat and so much more. So visit the family-friendly Big Mouth restaurant for fantastically fresh food. Call 01733 201020 or visit getbigmouthonline.com.
We know you're concerned about heating your home in this cost of living crisis. We are too. Which is why at Peterborough City Council, we're doing all we can to help. We can support and advise you on ways to save energy this winter and to insulate your home, one of the best and long-term ways to save on energy bills. Visit our website for ideas and links. Find out more at peterborough.gov.uk.
Satisfy your cravings at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant. Enjoy a tantalizing variety of Chinese, Italian, Pakistani and comfort food favourites from starters to desserts. Kids under 5 dine for free, so bring the whole family to our location at 63 Sycamore Avenue. Open every day from 5 p.m. till 10:30 p.m. Call us on 01733 313131 or book online to reserve your table. Ibrahimi-restaurant.co.uk. Every bite is a delight at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
2020 World Buffet is inspired by the best foods from around the world. See our teppanyaki chefs grill your food to order, or choose delicious Indian, Italian, Chinese, Mexican dishes and British favourites, all halal. 2020 World Buffet offers you unlimited food at a set price. Open 7 days for lunch and dinner. Catering, wedding and party services available too. Call 01733 566 320 or visit 2020buffet.co.uk. 2020 World Buffet, 35 New Road, Peterborough, PE1 1FJ.
You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salam Radio. Salam Radio. 106.2 FM.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to wonderful listeners of Salam Radio 106.2 FM and the Body, Health and Mind Show. It's been fabulous to have you here, and we've been talking all about sleep. I was just talking simply before we broke off for the break that we need to normalise, we most certainly need to normalise sleep and talk about it a little bit more often. And actually the number, 40% of people within the UK suffer from a lack of sleep or poor sleep or deteriorating sleep or whatever that may be. But 40% of people within the UK don't get the right kind or quality or amount of sleep. And we're here to talk about it. So before the break, we were talking about the types of sleep, why people, what type of sleep they need and what does sleep mean and the benefits of it. And we've had some questions on the show from people as to problems associated with sleep. And I'd like to hear more from you. Have any of you noticed how sleep affects your mood and your ability to stay focused during the day? I'd like you to call in. But before I do answer any of your questions, I think it's important to talk about common sleep problems in the UK. And despite the importance of talking about sleep and what it is, and I'm just going to share something with you before I even move on, but the more I'm talking about using this word sleep, the more I'm having the most real urge to yawn away, and I'm suppressing it. I don't want to. Does that mean I'm sleep deprived? I don't know. I feel sleep deprived all the time. I always am tired, but it's a running joke in my family. Whenever I go and see my parents in London, my mum always asks me, how are you doing? And I always say, I'm tired. I just want to go to sleep. And she says, you never say anything else. So yes, it's a culmination of lots of things, isn't it? Working, having children, trying to maintain a work-life balance and trying to do the best that you can. Give a bit of yourself to everything in all the roles that you perform. And the reason why I'm saying that is because women have sleep problems more compared to men. So it's very important that we recognise what those sleep problems are and how to address them. It's very, very important. Despite sleep being so important, we already know that people in the UK struggle with common sleep problems. So I'm going to talk a little bit about them. And the first on my list is insomnia. The number of people that speak to me about the fact that they're unable to go off to sleep is staggering. And it is actually the most widespread sleep problem here in the UK. It affects around 1 in 3 people, according to the NHS. And insomnia as a definition is when somebody has a problem falling asleep, staying asleep, or even waking up too early. And a big factor that contributes to insomnia is stress, anxiety, and even poor sleep habits, which are often the culprits. So that's just one of those things that can lead to having insomnia. And the other reason for poor sleep is actually sleep apnea. If you've ever heard of what sleep apnea is, then you will know that sleep apnea actually means that it causes a disorder of breathing whilst you're sleeping. And that then in turn makes you stop breathing and start whilst you sleep, which often leads to loud snoring or waking up gasping for air. And that actually affects around 1.5 million people in the UK. The statistics around sleep apnea are staggering. They really are. And if you feel that you're suffering from sleep apnea and you wake up in the morning incredibly lethargic and sleepy, do seek medical advice. And part of knowing whether you suffer from sleep apnea is if you have a partner and you're asleep and you start snoring. That can cause sleep apnea too. So if you are waking up with a heavy head, lethargic, headaches, and your partner complains that you're snoring, chances are you're probably suffering from sleep apnea and it needs to be looked into as well. Then we have a segment on stress and sleep. We can't forget about stress. We really can't. I mean, stress, the number of illnesses that stress causes is staggering. It really is. And there was a YouGov survey that revealed that 74% of UK adults have felt so stressed at some point that they felt overwhelmed or unable to cope. Stress can also be a major factor in sleep problems like insomnia. So it's very important that we think about these factors too. So that was sleep apnea, stress. Have any of you ever experienced these sleep problems? I'd really like to know. So call in on 0173 602 133 or text us on 074 11191062 and comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, X or Twitch. I'd really like to hear from you. What is it that you suffer from in terms of how you are able to promote a healthy sleep? Or do you have anything in particular that you're suffering from? I think it's really important that we look at how you are sort of coping with your sleep as well. I think that one of the things that we also should talk about is the effects of poor sleep and the bad habits that we can develop as a result of having bad sleep. Now, it can affect, like I said in the first segment of the show, sleep can affect our emotional regulation. Now, if you're experiencing a period of bad sleep for weeks, months or years, I know that this is going to affect your day-to-day life. I mean, it's happened to me as well. It happens to all those people that suffer from a bad sleep. It affects your physical and your mental health. And not getting enough good quality sleep can completely sap your energy levels. It can lower your mood, as we've spoken about, and it can reduce your concentration too. So that in turn can then negatively impact your relationships. It can impact your immune system. It can impact your work. It can impact your social life. And one of the biggest issues with not getting enough good quality sleep is being sleep deprived. And you can develop into a vicious circle when you become sleep deprived. And what can that cause? There are some really interesting physical issues that can culminate as a result of being sleep deprived. So you can have poor focus, memory and concentration. You're more likely to consume caffeine and sugary drinks, which isn't good. You're more likely to take part in risky and antisocial behaviour if you're sleep deprived. You are more likely, because it affects your immunity, to suffer from colds and infections. And you are more likely to less be able to manage stress. And when you are less able to manage stress, you can imagine the plethora of issues that come out of that as well. And there is evidence now that shows us that sleep problems may help reduce anxiety, but treating sleep problems can reduce anxiety disorders and symptoms of depression. So it's very important that you see your GP if you are suffering from a sleep problem. But the aim should not be to see a GP simply because you want a tablet. That's not how it should work. A lot of people will often consult with their GP saying that they want a sedative and want a tablet to go to sleep. That's not how sleep should be treated. You want something that puts you into a regular cycle of healthy sleep. And a lot of that is about your lifestyle. So it's very important. And I'm going to give you some tips on that. So if you have been suffering from anything, I am going to be giving you some tips on how to maintain a healthy lifestyle and what you can do. So I've got Lee Taylor, who has joined. Evening. Hello, Lee. It's lovely to have you join the show. Thank you very much for coming along. And do join us and ask us questions. We've had some great questions that have come in. We've had some great interactions that have come in. But what I am going to do is talk to you about building better sleep habits. If you've just joined us, I'm Dr. Shabina Asad Qayyum. This is the Body, Health and Mind show on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. And I'd like you to ring me and have a chat on 01733 602 133. I'd like you to share your experiences of sleep issues. And also, if you want to text me and you don't want to speak to me, that's absolutely fine as well. You can text us on 07411 191062, and you can comment on the live stream, which you have been on Facebook, X, YouTube or Twitch. So let's get to the part that we've all been waiting for. What can we do to improve sleep? And here are some science-backed tips that I'm going to talk to you about to try and improve your sleep. It doesn't matter if you can't sleep. You need to make a schedule about your sleep. There is absolutely no compromise on this. The minute you implement a routine into your life, that is half the battle won. It demonstrates that you have insight. It demonstrates that you want to get better. And it also demonstrates that you have something that you wish to address. But sticking to a consistent sleep schedule is something that I feel is very important. Try going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends, and this helps regulate your body's internal clock. So try doing that. Now, with the long summer days and the short winter days in the UK, obviously that can be challenging because we see that, we've got daylight saving time and hours, and the clocks are going to go back in the next couple of weeks for an hour. But even small adjustments to your routine can help. So one of the parameters that I've actually set with some of my patients who say that they can't go to sleep, they try to get, themselves to bed by 12 and they can't go to sleep until 3 in the morning. I usually say, well, actually, you need to have wind down time as well. So you need to think of sleep as a ritual that you look forward to incorporating into your life. And I know that it's saying it is really easy, but honestly, just those steps of having a ritual and giving yourself or envisaging sleep rather than a burden, but something that you're going to look forward to, just helps with the whole perception and mindset. And a lot of people, you'll be surprised to know that a lot of people that suffer from insomnia are fearful when the time approaches for them to go to sleep. They're just fearful. They don't want that time to come because they're filled with dread, which increases their anxiety, which further makes them unable to sleep. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's not constructive. So the main point is that you look forward to a ritual. Make sleep your ritual. That is your time. Treat yourself the best. Think of it as a gift that you're giving to yourself. And I think that people will still say to me, oh, it's easier said than done. And it really does depend upon your individual circumstances. But there was a time when I used to be so stressed about things. And I think that the height of that time was in the pandemic, actually. There was a point in my life that I became really stressed and my sleep was deteriorating massively. It had a huge impact on my emotional well-being, my personality, who I was, how I was presenting myself. And I eventually thought, I can't let this own me. I cannot let this problem in my life dictate to me how it's going to take ownership over my life. I have to take ownership over this. So I changed my mindset and how I perceived it. And I considered it, sleeping, as my escapism, my switch off time, my time. So I was going to make it the best possible time of the day for me to treat me. And you can start off by thinking that, but actually having a routine is very important. So think of it as a routine, think of it as a ritual, think of it as that part of the day that you're going to look forward to, and then you could see changes as well. What does that do? The circadian rhythm, the circadian clock that we were talking about, that helps regulate it. Okay? If you go to sleep at the same time every single day, let's just say a standard 10:30, and this is for adults, by the way. For children, you should be asleep a lot more earlier. But by 10 or 10:30, if you put yourself to bed and aim to wake up at 6 or 7 o'clock, whenever you need to wake up, then you will develop what you call a circadian rhythm within your system. So that's really important. Create your own bedtime routine. I always say that to so many of my patients. Your bodies need a signal that now they are going to wind down. So develop a pre-bed routine. Read a book. Listen to calming music. There are so many apps. So I'll give you the name of a free app. I'm not commercializing it or promoting it in any way, but it is called Smiling Mind. It has a lot of resources on it. Listen to some calm music. It's very important that you listen to something that's calm, that sets your breathing rate and also gives you the chance to relax. Practice meditation. Avoid looking at technology, watching the television or your phone, because nowadays our phones are the bane of our lives, aren't they? Promise yourself that you were going to switch your phone off after a while. And screen time especially has white light that can actually prevent the release of the hormone that puts you to sleep called melatonin. It's very important that you switch yourself off from your screens. If you're someone who checks your phone right before bed, okay, I will put my hands up and say that somebody is me as well. Try putting it on airplane mode, which I do. I always put my phone on airplane mode or put it in another room for the night. That for me is quite difficult, putting my phone in another room. But what my husband does is he puts my phone on the window so that I get up when the alarm goes in the morning, because I could sleep right through it and I've got to get up and turn it off, and that way I'll wake up properly, because I won't be able to go back to sleep again, which I think is a bit it's a bit torturous actually, but yeah, that's what happens in my household, and I'm just sharing that with you as well. And you know, your bedroom should be a very friendly sleep environment. Keep it cool, keep it dark, and keep it quiet. And use blackout curtains if you may, especially if you're sensitive to the light. And that's something that I am as well. Try earplugs or a white noise sound if there is a lot of noise where you live. And what white noise does is it blocks out the external noise from the environment if it's filtering into your house, and helps you go to sleep. The fourth thing that I wanted to give you in terms of a tip is watch what you eat and drink before you go to bed. Avoid eating heavy meals before you go to bed. Tea time means tea time, so 6-7 o'clock is a perfect time to eat, not later than that, I would say. And avoid having caffeine before you go to bed. And a nightcap with alcohol, for those people who are watching, who do drink, that can make you feel drowsy, but alcohol can also disrupt your sleep later in the night. So I think that's really important. So I've got, Sam, hello. It's wonderful to see Sam has come onto the show. So Sam says, how do I stop myself needing a wee during the night? Now I have decaf tea. I don't drink after 8 p.m. That's a really good question, Sam. Now, what I would say to you is that it depends upon so women that go through the menopause, because of a lack of estrogen, will have frequency of urine. You might benefit from, if you're going through the menopause, you might benefit from some topical estrogen rather than the tablets or the patches. Topical estrogen usually helps with estrogen infiltration in the genitourinary tract, which can then prevent the need for you to go for a wee. Also, it would be worth seeing whether you are diabetic, because when you're diabetic, you can get up and go to the toilet a lot more. So those are two things. I hope that's answered your question. And then Sam also says that Louis can't sleep without his fan. He likes the noise. Yeah, there are some people, I can't sleep without the fan because the noise, the buzzy noise makes me fall asleep as well. So that's really important. And Lee, hello Lee. Yep, I like the sound of a fan. That's great. It's great that you like that too. And Kieran, I'm off now. I enjoyed watching your show tonight. I'm really grateful that you have joined us tonight, Kieran. It's really brought about some really good conversations. But going on to that, I was talking about diet and the fact that we shouldn't eat too soon before sleep. So watch what you eat and drink as well. And if you are hungry, consider a light snack if you're hungry, like a banana or even some nuts, which are wholesome and they've got fiber in them, and they also have nutrients in them that promote sleep. Pistachios, for example, have melatonin in them that promote sleep. So do try these nuts as well. Limit your naps during the day. If you do feel tired, keep your naps to around 20 to 30 minutes and avoid napping in the late afternoon, because long naps can interfere in your nighttime sleep. Now, what bedtime routines have worked for you? I'd like to know. So Sam has said that her son Louis likes to use a fan, which is really good. But have you tried any of these tips? In addition to that, I think it's really important to say having a shower or a hot milky drink before you go to bed will always relax your body, give you the ability to relax, rewind. And I think it's very, very important that we understand that having a good bedtime routine is very good. My colleague Sam, who's just written here on the show, I remember her telling me she likes to have a bath, get out, put her cream on, put some fluffy PJs on. And indeed, I've seen her on many a Zoom meeting where she's had fluffy PJs with her cat, and she does her crocheting. Sometimes it's good to wind down and have that specific routine that you can adhere to. So those are Sam's tips that I've given to you because I've been witness to them over the last couple of years. So I hope that helps. Sam has said, my blood sugars have dropped to 44 millimoles from 51 millimoles, so my diet is helping. Stated HRT estrogen gel, so hoping it can help. So started estrogen gel, which is great and a really help. And Lee has said, pain and sleep don't mix, Shabina. Yes, I agree with you. Pain and sleep don't mix at all, Lee. And that is why it's very important to address the main things that are preventing sleep. And you know what, Lee? It might be worth having a shower before you go to bed, just that routine, a hot milky drink, winding down. That whole concept about ritual is really important, developing that mindset that you're going to go to sleep, and hopefully you will stay out of pain as well. So there's a psychological element to pain, and also there's a physical element to pain. And I get where you're coming from. I think that it's really important that we address both elements. And Sam, go to bed about 10:30, 10:45. All I want is sleep without being woken up. I get you. And I think that that's important. But again, have a look at your sleep in terms of psychologically thinking about it as a ritual. A ritual. That's very, very important. That you look forward to that ritual as well. I think, if you can do that's at least one thing that you've addressed as well. Keep a sleep diary. Keep a track of how many hours you're sleeping and why. If there's a pattern of behavior, you can then possibly address it. And actually, if you Google sleep trackers, there are some really good resources as well. We've spoken about the wind down routine too, and even writing down your thoughts. If you tend to be an anxious person and you're thinking when you lie down in bed thinking about everything, write your thoughts. And if you can't get to sleep, get up. So those are a couple of things that I've spoken about. I mean, I wish I had more time for the show. Sometimes it just, completely runs past, the time does. But it's been wonderful speaking to you about it. And I want to know what your biggest takeaway has been from the show. Will you change your sleep routine? Drop me a message if you do. I'd love to hear from you as well. But in the meantime, I can't wait to join you again on another show. It'd be great to speak about something. Send me your suggestions across. It would be great to be able to speak to you. And in the meantime, I hope you support all of our shows on the wonderful Salam Radio 106.2 FM. And until next time, it's me, your very own Dr. Shabina Asad Qayyum. See you on the next Body, Health and Mind show. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.
Stay tuned to Salam